I want to give you a really good story about a full circle moment because Tony Eades is in the house. And Tony and I started Growth Gen 4 years ago as a marketing and sales event. So it was actually supposed to be an in-person event. We brainstormed for almost 6 months, isn't it, Tony? Like, we literally sat down, strategized. Yeah, a few breaks in between. You were busy, I was busy, it all happened. But at the same time, the name Growth Gen came from Tony and I. We actually brainstormed it. It was supposed to be a sales and marketing event, in-person event pre-COVID, but now it's become a small business community, and Tony's right here to present for the first time. So can I get a round of applause for Tony? Because he was one of the originators. That's my point. So I have to give you credit where credit is due. I brought it to life, yes, during the pandemic, but it's been, I wanted to talk about that story because I really had some fun brainstorming through that session with Tony, and we had a great time doing that. But thank you all for joining us. And so just to tell you a little bit about Growth Gen, it's a small business community with a difference. We don't just talk about business, we actually talk about life here. And the reason for it is so many reasons, but the main thing is that small business owners think that they can separate their lives from their business, and their business lives, vice versa. However, they don't know how to do that because everything affects everything. So by talking, discussing with like-minded business owners and talking about your challenges and opportunities in both areas, you're more likely to solve those issues and challenges with them. So for me, it was simple. I didn't know how to express myself. Yeah, I know. Shane is looking at me like, yo, Eob talks. But the truth is, I used to hide a lot of things inside. I used to do that a lot because I didn't know how to express myself in that sense because I had that man ego, Nobody stops that man ego, is it? No way. So that's what I had. So I had to learn all those things, and now I'm here today. So I'm super, super grateful for that. And today it's all about attraction marketing. So it's a new concept of demonstrating your product or service so that other business owners or anyone that's purchasing from you, a client, customer, can come and purchase it with full confidence, knowing that your product and service is fantastic. So that's what the theme is all about, and that's what our first in-person event of the year is all about. So I just wanted to, what else can I say about this? So obviously we have an amazing lineup as well. So we've got Tony Eades and his team from Salted Stone. They're going to talk about, they're going to have a panel discussion, and they're actually going to talk about some of the campaigns they've worked on. Lee Usher is here. She's going to be talking about Google and how to set all that up. These are all demonstrations. They're not going to be presentations. So if you have paper and pen, please take down those notes. They're fantastic. Last but not least, we've got Melissa. Oh, I was looking for you. I was like, where is she? So Melissa is going to talk about the mindset behind it as well. So it's marketing and mindset. So I'm very excited about that because that's what I discovered in the past 4 years. The whole point I was telling you about the shutting part is understanding this and this first before you can go to business. So this is where we're coming from. So just a couple of other announcements. So it is an interactive session, so we're actually going to have Slido on the screen as well, and you guys can send your questions there, so we'll have the barcode up. Tony and Tony's team, there's a Q&A there, and don't be afraid to jump into Lee's and Melissa's presentations as well, so they can answer your questions. And then we also have some polling questions coming up with that. I just quickly wanted to give you a quick introduction of some of our mentors as well that are in the room. So Growth Gen, like I said, is a community with a difference. We mentor small business owners. Karim, can you stand up, please? So Karim is our marketing mentor, which is fantastic. Thank you for coming. Marjorie, I just saw you walk in. There you go. And Marjorie looks after our GG boards. She's a business coach. Amazing. You got to sit down and have a chat to her. So we also have Amanda Campbell, who's from Bend Like Bamboo. She is a Melbourne-based coach. We've got Chris Francini. Chris, where are you? Where's Chris? Oh, has she gone out? Oh, she has gone out. Okay, cool. She'll come back later. Lara Perret, who's from MaxFit. She's our health coach. Louis Ormazabal, so he's our legal coach and mentor that we have. We also have Rebecca Swanson, who is our clarity coach. So she helps you with life and business, but getting some clarity around that. Sarah McAvoy, who's our cybersecurity coach, so super important to have that right these days, especially in small business. There's so many things around that. Shane, last but not least, please stand up. Shane is from Martison. He's a business coach, sales coach. He's run 3 successful businesses. So this is the type of mentors and the type of community we're attracting. So if you guys want to know more about Growth Gen, you just come and talk to myself or Donna, and we can help you out. And you can join this amazing community. It really is a fantastic thing that we're building here. Some announcements. So the next GG board that we have is actually next Wednesday, the 22nd. So the GG board is the event that I was telling you about, where 10 small business owners sit down online and talk about their challenges and opportunities in business and in life. So it's a fantastic session that Marjorie runs every fortnight, and if you guys want to join us, then the first session is actually complimentary. So definitely try that. The next workshop, and Shane is running the next workshop on the 23rd of February. So how to link your sales strategy to ensure it works for your team. So again, it's all about sales and marketing this first quarter. So important to have that. And the summit, our big event, and this is all online. By the way, most of our events are online. This is the in-person events, we only have 4 a year. And we just, the Christmas party, this one is our second one, and then we've got another one coming up in 3 months' time, but I'll tell you more about that later. But the summit is going to be held on Thursday, the 2nd of March, so book that in as well. All right, so with no further ado, let me just introduce Lee. Lee can be described in 3 words: innovative, experienced, and engaging. She is a seasoned professional speaker, trainer, and media commentator who co-founded a digital marketing agency, BuzzWeb Media, in 2010. And recently, a business software company called Focal Connect, which offers clients a full suite of cutting-edge digital marketing tools to streamline the process of setup, self-management. Lee is also Google Australia's Grow with Google trainer. So I want to welcome Lee. She's just setting up. Thank you, everyone.
There's a few suite of products that Google has, obviously. We're all aware that Google has a lot of products. Many of you know about the Google Ads, Google Analytics. Today, I only have time to talk about one key one, which is the free one where anyone should start, because it's called Google My Business. And the main reason that I would talk about that is because 80% of us go to Google to search for products or information. So if you have a product or you're a service, that's where you really want to be found first, as much as you can. So one of the questions I want to ask first, so that we know, I'll address different samples and case studies, is how many in the room would say that they are wearing most hats in the business, from coming up with the planning of their services, to taking the inquiries, to doing their marketing on social media and flyers and whatnot, and probably using Canva, and maybe have an assistant to help with some, but it's pretty much you. Is that most of us in the room? Great, because that's what I'm going to be really focused on today, how you can use this tool to start automating some of your marketing, where it's working, attracting leads in for you, while you're still out there doing the other stuff. We got internet? Okay, can you just go to that video? I'm just going to, who actually had a chance to see the video that was shared of a highlight of some stats on growth gen on social media the last couple of days? I know that SpaceCube's CEO retweeted it, wherever he is, thank you. That helped get some coverage for it. I'm just going to get just growth gen / growth gen, is it 2020? Where are you, Eob? Growth gen 2020? Yep. So just scroll down, and I'm just going to quickly because that can do the talking rather than me. I feel out of control when I don't have it. Hubby's got the remote. Just play.
It's like, well, just Google it.
No.
So it's not we
Start
just
at the beginning.
search it, we say Google it. It's become, I think we all very well know how big Google search is, because if you want to find something, it's like, well, just Google it. So it's not we just search it, we say Google it. It's become a household term. So here's the first crazy stat that I've got for you. By the time you read this slide, the world will have asked Google 500,000 questions. Every second, minute, hour, think about the scale of that. The world is coming to Google to find information. And the shopping behaviours are now very different from what they used to be. Online shopping has become the norm. Obviously, COVID has definitely helped with that. And Google is where people are going to search and find what things they want to buy. However, the surprising part, only 10% of businesses in Australia are taking these steps to realise this potential. So the question is how to embrace digital, and how do we make sure that you are all in that 10%?
So that's what we're going to talk about. It did it better than I did. So if we look at it, if you're looking at it on your mobile, if you just even search in your own Google, just go to Google and search your business, you will see it looks a bit different to this. And where you have, so the different features that I want to talk about is how this works for you from the back end when you create one. Now, part of the problem, some people have the assumption that you have to have a location, like a shop front location, to be in business, have a Google business profile. You don't. You do have to register a location for your business, but you don't have to have one. You can use the co-working space, but we need to get this co-working space actually listed in Google first. That would be handy. And then you can check in. So like a shopping centre, they have, they're not necessarily on the street front, they're in a shopping centre. So there is ways around it, and that way once you're on, you can start using it. Now, we go to social media all the time. How often would you go? Once a day? Twice a week? How much time do you spend building promotions and posts, thinking about the hashtags you're going to use, searching the people that you have to tag and putting up the photos every week? How often are you actually doing the same thing in your Google business profile? Because that's what you can be doing. Because if you think about that, it's 80% of people are going there to search for the products and services, then you need to... JP, can you stop, please? Then you need to... I've lost it now, sorry guys. Okay. I've taken the remote. So what I'm going to show you is some of the areas, the key areas. Now the key areas, if you're looking on your mobile, and I'm just going to go there so I don't share, I share it in the right order for you. If you go to your mobile, you will see that you have the overview, which is obviously here, the address, links to your website. So if you're not filling these things in, because one of the biggest reasons people come to Google is actually to find your address and then click on it so they can get that map listing to get to you, because we're all too lazy to type it into the Google Maps. Now, that's key. So that's why you need to have that. That is one of the main reasons why people will come to you. 70% of people search your business for that. So that's the people who know you that are going to come and see you for an inquiry. And that's what that one's for. Obviously call, so your phone number. Have the link that is actually directed to where you want inquiries to go, not necessarily the deadline for anything. That's always a key one. And so then what we're going to do is go inside the profile, but I want to go through some of these key areas here. So the reviews, if you look on your phone, reviews is a big one that we all commonly know for Google. Hand up if it really freaks you out to promote reviews in case you had a bad review. Is anyone really worried about that? Hand up if you do actually have your clients go and give you a review as part of your process. Beautiful, I love that. Right, one of the things, hand up again, who responds to their reviews? Some of you? Yeah. 1.7 times more people will do business when they're looking at researching a business locally to them to work with. 1.7 times more are likely to work with a business that is responsive to reviews, negative or positive, because it shows them that you're listening to their customers. So that's key. So if it isn't part of your process, it should be. And then when you do get that alert notification that someone's given you a review, make sure you go and respond to it. So that's the key one there. The other is that some people don't necessarily know, but don't use it, is the offers area. Offers can be, which is, let's just scroll down here. So the offers area can show up in glitchy ways. JP, you can come back now and show you off that so that I can explain to them the post. The offers are a little bit buggy, I find, in Google. I'll be the first to claim that. We've got our designers working with it. It's a very random thing. You think it's square. Google tells you to use square. Who's nodding then? Someone said, yeah. You think it's going to be square, then you put it up, and then it doesn't display square. So then you actually change it and you remove text from those areas, but then it decides at some point it's going to show off the top part, not the center part. So it's a bit weird. So it's a bit of a mismatch. As you can see, our offers here, there's one where it's cropped this, and then other times where it's kept the top. But these are all square images where we've kind of kept a boundary around thinking that was going to help us, right? So a hack that I'm going to teach you today that we get around working that is use those slides. Most of us are using slides and dumping them into Canva and turning them into videos. That's the way to do it. Use a video, because the video will show. So it'll keep it in one, and that way you're getting all your information. So if you're going to do offers, go to that little extra effort. Rather than just doing graphics, add a video. 1, it'll look prettier. 2, it's easier to read for your people that are looking. Yep.
There's a limit on how long I've had a lot of
Yep.
videos.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're going in and doing posts, which is one of the other areas now I'll focus on now that you've brought that up, the other area where you do posts, updates, where are we? Part of me wanted to keep logged out and logged in different browsers so I could show you what it looks like from the front end, which is if you're on your phone you can see, but at the top you'll see that it's got updates. And so when you click on the updates, that's an area of posts, and that's no different from how you're treating your social media Facebook posts. You can add business hours, Christmas specials, things like that, like you just do on Facebook. Notifications, team internal stuff that you want to share, maybe new people that are opening a new office, things like that. But again, it's not meant to be anything but updates. So if it is a video that is over 30 seconds, it really belongs on YouTube, according to Google. And that then is going to help you rank, because in the Google space, because obviously, what is the second biggest search engine outside of Google? YouTube. So, and if you think about it, it goes maps, video, shops. Sometimes if you're looking for an event, it'll actually prioritise events, and then it'll show you all of the links. So if you can take advantage of those different spaces with your products as well, there's no reason why you can't list services as products. We do that, okay? So the key type services, website design and the marketing mentoring program, they're services, but they're a product. They're a business product for us. Yep. Let me think, what else do I need to share with you? Questions? This can be a scary place for people.
No, I'm just curious, are you still able to blog and stuff?
So what they've done is they've really trimmed it, thinking, like the video, you can't put long form stuff there anymore, because the idea is they're trying to help the ranking of search. So it's more about, we go there to find small pieces of it. It's simple definitions. You can answer a bit more on that, JP, because So it's about the same as a LinkedIn post or an Instagram post. Yeah. The idea is they want you to click through. They need to know what's relevant, what helps them rank, what's working. So again, the idea is to share small pieces of information to lead you to where you need the detail, whether it be the YouTube video, infomercial on whatever. Yeah. Questions. Now, the questions, we have this switched off at the moment. Well, actually, no, we don't, but we switched it back on today. This is a place where you can actually control whether you got it on and off. So if you want to set certain hours that it's on display, where you're responsive, where you know that if you got an alert sent to you by email, you could answer it. This is no different from the messages section of your Facebook, if you're familiar with that, or Instagram. There is elements that you can also have frequently asked questions automate a little bit. And so we don't necessarily use it here because we prefer that they use our contact page in our website. So that is something that is a decision that you choose based on how you're managing your inquiries. Yep. I need to get out.
Doesn't have to be an inquiry.
Not necessarily, no.
Like your own frequently asked questions. I just did that last week.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's frequently asked questions and messages.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, so there's two different sections there too. Yep, yep. Bookings, that's a pretty obvious one. The other one that I wanted to share with you probably is, let me think. I guess the reviews is the big one that which you've all really ticked. You're actually a smart cookie room, I think. I'm in a startup space, so I know that you're quite proactive in adopting technology and these areas of. Is there anything in particular you want to ask me? Because I'm happy. I can keep talking, but if there's certain things you want to know about Google My Business that I've not shared.
I do. The bookings one you mentioned, what's the capability of that? People can kind of
Yeah. So that can integrate. It's integrating with whatever you need, what you're using on your website. Yep. Yep. Yep, or a focal contact one. so, yeah. The other spaces is that also, like with your posts, when you're following you can look at the insights just like you can on Facebook around the activity of what's being picked up, how many click-throughs are on certain buttons, things like that. That can help you decide what you might want to put a bit of ad spend behind. So rather than going in blind with ads, Google ads, that can help you sometimes determine, well, if people are coming to Google, what are they clicking on? What am I coming up for? What's working for me? Also, one of the key things too is your categories, making sure that from the suggestions, rather than just putting in your own, Google will do a drop down as you start to type of suggestions. I always encourage people to use that because there's a reason that they're suggesting it to you, and it's usually ranked on based on some of the searches that people have done. So if you can't find it, it's usually that it's just such a low search that it's not worth using. These sort
Question. So you're a national business who's wholesale, so you're not selling direct to other businesses, you're selling to Woolworths,
Yep.
Coles, something like that. Do you still suggest that one in this space too, where consumers aren't going to buy directly from you normally?
Well, if you're seeking to be found by the distributors, then would that be it's a case of whether Google is the place for you to be listed. Yeah.
The client who's sort of looking at this and they're sort of
Yep.
trying to sell into convenience stores, directly to Coles and Woolworths,
Yep.
they're arranged.
Yep.
And I said, look, you're not doing B2C work, that's
No.
not necessarily a huge amount here because you're not going to get that much.
No, but it is a good place. I mean, most of his... So the way... If we think about Google as an attraction marketing tool, and then I'll come back to that, attraction marketing tool, it's an inbound. So we're talking attraction marketing. We're wanting to put content... And I actually thought about the HubSpot term for this, actually. Attraction marketing is inbound marketing. And what it means is that you are creating content that is engaging enough and relevant enough to the person who's reading it to attract them in, right? That's inquiry. So you're not doing outbound sales or advertising. So particularly in that case, that might be the profile that he builds in that he won't get a lot of people searching Google, but if they do, he would have the content there that is going to attract those in. So yeah, and that's what that my business is all about, which is why I focused on it today. Obviously, outbound is the advertising platforms. Analytics is something that is free as well at a certain level, where it's tapped into your insights and you can access that information around your posts and how many people are clicking through on your call or your map listing to find out where you are, because those are key little pieces of information that might help you identify, well, if I had so many people click on my website link in a month, and for us this week it was, I don't know, it was 230 something, right? Well, how many inquiries did that convert? If they clicked through, how did it convert? That's telling you something, right? So have a think about that. And then in the deeper analytics, you can have a look, well, what pages did they click on? Because maybe we need to tidy those up. So you know that moment where you go and you sort of go, oh, not that page, not that blog post. That's so out of date. I've done it. We have one ranking on how to message your Facebook followers. It's 10 years old and I've tweaked it and tweaked it and tweaked it, but it gets us 1,000 hits every week, and I'm just like, please. And I don't want to delete it because it's ranking so well. It's actually got us some of those little notes, those sort of, I can't remember, what are they called? Yeah, so I'm like, oh, but I've got to change it because we get click-throughs, people are reading it, and then we get inquiries on how we can help them do that. So it's not converting what we need it to convert, but it's giving us traction. So anyway, but that's a key thing to think about with your analytics to see what's coming on in your websites. Segued a bit there, Yob.
On the subject of fake reviews, we've got a direct competitor. Not very scientific, but it is obvious that the reviews are to the point where you get about 60, 70 a day. So it's not a business that gets that many reviews.
Yeah, sadly it is a really, it's one of the biggest tasks that gets reported to Google as well. So we too have experienced that with clients. Auto electrician brother-in-law, his competitors, we helped him rank his website, got for a specific, low-end, high-profit type of job that brought customers in, and all of a sudden he got smashed with all these reviews, like hundreds of them, and bad reviews, but they're fake. There's no profile. They're obvious fakes, So someone's gone out on the black market and paid someone to do that, and they've just gone and created fake Gmail accounts and then done 50 or so a day.
And they've all made one review across the entirety of the web.
So
and it's half-spelt and there's no details.
So you can report them. It helps to add screenshots and links. So it's much.
I'm talking about a competitor having positive reviews. You can still.
Oh, he's buying them. You can report that. You can report it same way. So if you want to take if it becomes quite obvious, if you take screenshots and the links, you can report that and submit it. It can take a lot of time. One, because they don't necessarily call that the high damage effort type of role they got to do, but it will come up, and 9 times out of 10 you might find that business will actually lose their page. It'll lose their rank. It'll be just wiped. They'll have to start again. So yeah, they have to. They're a verified business because that's how you set it up. But the reviews, if they can see that it's obviously a lot of positive reviews that aren't real, because they'll look into that, then they'll just close the business page down. Yeah.
There's no guarantee though, because we've submitted, these are obviously negative, like just Pet Porpoise Pool up in Coffs Harbour, they all of a sudden had these activists like just target them, and so we were reporting them, we were showing screenshots, doing everything. This person has never been to Australia. How can this be a legitimate review? Google didn't do a thing, they go, nope, legitimate.
What about third parties like Trustpilot, who's seemingly doing a better job than Google? Because the reviews is only as good as how well trustworthy it is. So if it's not trustworthy, it's worth nothing.
100%. Yeah.
You don't do business with banks if you don't trust it. We all trust our banks. Because, So otherwise,
so that's why I respond to them. Any system that exists in the entire world will get gamed. Somebody will game the system. And you just have to accept that there will be.
I mean, like directory listings, you'll get sold X amount of directory listings as one of those silly little SEO type services. But how many of those directories are actually legitimately real, or even here and valid to us? You know what I mean? Like it's just. There's always going to be that black market of services, but part of it is that Google does stay on top of it. There's certain things that are prioritised over others. They'll prioritise a business of negative reviews over someone that's got a heap of positive. It's just how they will, because they know that that's a risk of business for that business. It's bigger damage. But it's the same as Facebook, right? I mean, who's got their reviews switched on and has reported to Facebook? I've segued again, sorry, Eade, but you've got those reviews where they're selling blockchain, or and they give you the WhatsApp. Yeah, you get it, don't you, Gabe? It drives me nuts. We have about 3 on Buzz right now where we've reported them. One of the things that we do as a little hack is in capital letters underneath, just respond to that review saying that we have reported this is spam. Because if we do have people coming and looking at our reviews to consider us, we want them to at least know that we have tried to do something about that. Again, it comes back to that trust and loyalty of engagement, of knowing that, we see this, we see it, we've reported it, we know it's spam, and we're letting you know because you are potentially a customer that wants to work with us. So, yeah, these are the little things that gets a bit frustrating in those systems that don't really come back and talk to you.
Yeah. I was going to say that I actually use both as well, Trustpilot and Google, because that gives customers the real sort of, reviews that we're getting. So I think using both is good. Obviously, Google is more powerful. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
We know how powerful. Exactly. Yeah.
One thing you do if you're responding to reviews, like reasonably without swearing people off. One thing you do is you say, hey, yes, this is not just fully automated with machines up here. there's actually a human being behind this business who cares.
Yeah.
That goes a long way.
It does.
It really does, absolutely.
It
Yeah,
does.
because there is so much automation that we do to help our business that, it does. Just coming in and saying, oh, we're so pleased to... And the idea, I will add, don't be frightened to use emojis. You know, little, oh, thank you. It doesn't hurt because it pops out from the text. It stops people when they're scrolling because all they're seeing is text. So, you know, the reason we say put your promos into videos or images, not just text, and why we do it is because 90% of people will stop to look at an image over just a text post.
Let's go to Nathan's page for emojis, because I know he loves them. You do.
One thing that hasn't been mentioned yet, actually, and it's really hard to deal with, it's when you get a client saying, I've posted a review, and you're like, thank you so much, but it doesn't come through because Google's pretty quick at notifying you. I literally today had to get Google to verify, but to do it, you have to get a screenshot from them. You have to say, can you help me? You have to fill out a full form. You have to do everything. And at the end of the day, they only submitted through back to me like a generic, like, here are the guidelines of why it may not have been reviewed. And it was because he put his website address.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So it looks like a self-promotion, not a review.
Self-promotion.
Yeah.
It's part of their thing,
Yeah.
but I've had about probably 3 or 4 when I was much more infant in the business where I didn't realise you could go and dispute it, that I probably lost to time. But it's frustrating because you do so much and Google reviews are hard to get sometimes.
But really, I mean, who puts their website on the bottom of a review?
It was a thing. Sorry about it. It was a thing. But, yeah.
Question for you, so you use both, and yet tell the client you can leave a review, which one do you tell them?
I send them both, and I get them to choose one.
You must have-
Yeah, because I mean,
No, you have. So the thing. Sorry.
some people will.
I said LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
And again,
But-
this all
but
comes
copy
down
and
to the
pasting-
credibility of where they are, like
Yeah.
what they like to use. I mean, I use Google, I use LinkedIn, Facebook. So if they were to ask me to leave a
It's-
review and those options, they'd be the options I'd probably
it's
choose.
the options
Yeah.
that I offer more than anything. So
Yeah.
that's why. But Lee, thank you so much for joining us. What a fantastic chance. Great demonstration there. As you guys can see, so much to learn about Google. So very excited. Let's get Tony and Gabe and Mel up here, please. Fantastic. So Tony's going to facilitate this panel, and he has a fantastic... he's brought his team across from Salted Stone, and really excited to have him on board. So I'll just do a quick intro. Okay, so Tony works in the area of customer experience, innovative technology, and digital disruption. He assists growing companies to become market leaders through creative brand strategy, brand experience, digital solutions across multiple platforms. He is passionate about future-proofing brands.
Emphasize that word.
I know, but you are passionate. From startups to corporates, helping them engage with an ever-changing market of consumers. Welcome, Tony, please. There we go.
Thank you.
So, Mel, I actually don't have your introduction, so I want you to introduce yourself first.
And that's due to being bogged down with client work this week. So I'm Mel. I have quite a diverse background. I've bounced around between agency and client side. I've got an extensive kind of background in liquor, FMCG, small and medium businesses. At the moment, I am a strategic account manager for Tony's agency, Salted Stone, and we work with helping clients, you know, sort of all sizes, work out that strategy, particularly focused on inbound marketing and HubSpot.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
And she's awesome.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Honestly, yes. You keep me sane. Hi, my name's Gabe. I'm the head strategist for APAC for Salted Stone. I've been working in agency side for nearly 10 years now. I've worked across 7 different agencies, both big, small, startups. I helped start up a company in Melbourne some years back. I've sort of adopted into the HubSpot realm for the last 7 years or so, so quite extensive history in that. And I work at Salted Stone basically across most accounts in the APAC region, as the strategist, and as Mel will attest, I come and bug her and ask her what's going on, and she drags me into things when she needs my brain. And yeah, that's basically what I do on my day-to-day, and work with the rest of the client services team. So yeah, that's me.
And our 30 minutes wasn't just for your intro.
I know. That's awesome. Now, thank you so much for joining us today. Really looking forward to your panel, because I know there's a lot to get into, so I'm going to let you be. Thank you.
Well, hi everyone, good afternoon. Thanks for having us this afternoon. These crazy people with me I have to work with all day, and then we drag them on in the evening as well, which I think they get a bit crazier as the evening goes on. So attraction marketing, what an exciting topic that Eob has kind of come up with. And I thought I'd start with these three pictures. I don't know why, but there we are. That was for our introduction. But Mel looking very fabulous as usual just there.
And I look 12.
Quick thing about Sorted Stone, that's the company we're behind. Founded in 2008, our heads are spinning all the time, as you can see there. 70 plus in-house team members across APAC, where we are obviously North America and EMEA, the team. So it's very interesting because we get a lot of impact from around the world on what's actually happening in terms of trends for marketing and stuff like that, which we share with you today. So I thought this was good. What is attraction marketing? So, of course, thanks, Lee, I Googled that to attraction marketing. So, attraction marketing strategy where customers are attracted to purchase something without being told to do so. And I think this is so important because in today's world, hands up who loves being sold to. Generally today, we don't like people selling to us. And it was funny because I took a call earlier on today because we're doing just for our podcast. And Gabe said, why were you so happy on the phone? Like normally you're a bit grumpy when people just randomly ring you. And I said, well, it was barbecues galore telling me my barbecue was ready. So that was good. But if it had been someone trying to sell me something, the tone would have been totally different. But the interesting thing, and Lee sort of mentioned this earlier on, attraction marketing is very similar to what we practice, which is called inbound marketing. Very, very similar. It's the fact of, as you can see here, inbound marketing is a business methodology that attracts customers by creating valuable content and experiences tailored to them. So it's around personalization, it's around giving them the content they want instead of interrupting their day with stuff they don't. Right? Because we're all busy and we all just want to get on with our day, but we all need things, right? We all need services, we all need products. So the idea is to give us the content when we need it and let us keep going deeper and deeper as we go down the traditional funnel, I suppose, to find out more and more. So we let the customer actually drive the engagement, not the actual vendor. And I think that's the important part. So there is some similarities, but some bad news if you are still using the marketing funnel, which has been around since, would you believe, 1800. Then it's time to move on, right? The marketing funnel, the way we sell, the way we buy today has changed dramatically. So I'm here to tell you the funnel is dead. So I'm really sorry if you're still using it today, but the funnel is dead. There's so many flaws in the funnel. You see it's cracked already up there because what it does is it works on the fact you're going to lose people as you go down the funnel, right? And if you do the job properly, you shouldn't lose people. You should naturally progress them down from marketing to sales to being a customer. But the biggest flaw is the fact it finishes when you get a customer. But we all know that's when the journey begins, right? You do all that hard work to get a customer by attracting them to your business and bringing them down the funnel. And then you say, okay, they're a customer now, I'll move on and get more people down. But we know that we need to, what we call, delight them and keep them coming back for more. So we love the flywheel, right? Which is a part of the inbound methodology. Who's seen the flywheel before? HubSpot's done a great job at doing their own marketing and getting it out there. But the flywheel shows you that you attract, you engage, and you delight. What we love about the flywheel is, like any flywheel, it's frictionless, right? The quicker it spins, the faster it spins, the more energy that a flywheel creates, right? And the more energy drives your business, drives growth. So it's the growth flywheel. It actually grows your business as you do it properly. So we want to remove the friction. If we're going to attract anybody in attraction marketing, remove the friction along the buyer journey because we want them to naturally just move forward. We don't want them to get stuck along the way and thinking, well, what do I do next? So if I take that to the next level, you can see how around in the outer circle, strangers come to our website. or visitors, as we like to say, and they've come through their Google search or whatever they're doing into the website, we then want to give them the right content to engage with us. We want to know who they are. First name, last name, and email is generally the idea of what we want to know about somebody, because then we can sort of see how much content they take. So where they go on a website, looking at the data, what content they're interested in, we want to give them more of that content to keep attracting them so they go down and become customers. Once they're a customer, as I mentioned before, the journey continues. We want to delight them so they become brand ambassadors. They're so excited, they go and do Google reviews and everything because they love us, and they become brand promoters. And if you're a brand promoter, you're telling more people to come out, so then they become strangers, and around we go. So you can see how this model is a lot more fluid, a lot more frictionless than the old funnel. So today, the question is, leave the funnel behind, please, and let's start looking at the funnel and having more frictionless buyer journeys with everything that you do in marketing. I'm going to give you a quick example about what that looks like with a client of ours, which are just down the road here in Bella Vista, called ResMed, in content personalization. So typical website, it looks nice, but nothing particularly you might notice there, except for that top right. For those of you who can see, I don't know if you can see down the back there, but it's 6:50 p.m, good evening, need a coffee, grab a decaf after 3 p.m. to sleep better tonight. So personalization kicks off before they've even engaged with this website by putting in some personalization. Now, what we know about them is the time of day that they're looking at this. Wherever they are in the world, we know the time on their computer, so we can pick up things like that based on the time of day that they're looking for. The other thing is most websites in Australia today have a terrible rate of bounce. It's something like 50% or close to 50% of people go to a website and then bounce off, meaning that they think it's not right, it's not the right website, there's nothing they want, and they move. We've reduced by 30 to 40% the bounce rate on ResMed's website purely by adding this solutions finder. So what it does, instead of trying to navigate yourself through a navigation and thinking where you're looking, you go straight into this in a conversation way. I'm looking for a solution for myself or my partner or a friend. You then say, okay, I'd like to treat my sleep apnea, improve my sleep, stop my snoring, anything you might do, and then using a database backend to the website, click on See My Solutions, and it takes you to the various parts of the website relevant to that conversational search. So that little simple thing is just removing that friction I was mentioned before and bringing us straight into the heart of the website itself. So we're going to give you a couple of examples of clients that we've worked with in terms of this attraction marketing. And the interesting one, I might go back because that's you want to show that, don't you? So the first one we're going to do is GMA Garnet out of Western Australia. This is Mel's client. And GMA Garnet, as you imagine, are kind of in the mining world, so not I won't say a sexy product to market.
They make shiny jewels. I think they're pretty sexy.
Okay, well maybe that. Once they've been taken out the ground and made into something, they are. So we're going to have a little chat about how do we attract people into products like GMA Garnet.
Really interesting example. GMA have been around for 40 years. They're an Australian business. They're quite successful globally. They have spent this much on themselves in 40 years. They have had the vast majority of the market share for a long time. A competitor literally has a license on the other side of their mind, came knocking, has opened up. Guess what? They need to start doing some attraction marketing. And for them, it was just about, it was the first time they've engaged in telling a story with who they are. The first thing we tried to do is get them some pillars. So let's ground your story. Let's find some relatability. Attraction marketing is all about not trying to sell to someone, but trying to relate to them, trying to have them come to you. GMA is a business that's very seasonal, very contractual, not necessarily when we're putting campaigns into market and billboards happening, is someone going to be ready to buy? So it's all about attracting people into their funnel, having the support systems in place to nurture them and to keep having conversations with potential leads, keep giving them information. So, you know, when they are ready to buy, you're top of mind. They understand who you are. You don't have to go through that whole start of the funnel piece. We built just a dedicated landing page for them with some key statistics. They're a private business, they're mining, they don't really like to talk about themselves, so that was the first Band-Aid. We flew our creative director out to WA to capture all this content themselves. It's a huge investment as a business to capture content, so we had to make it relevant. We had to be able to divide it up in many channels in many different ways. So Tony, if you flick to the next slide. So we've effectively cut this one video up into something like 27 versions and bite size. It includes everything from shots about the business to interviews from customers and interviews from their employees. There's some statistics up there from a LinkedIn campaign we've run. It's the exact same peak video we ran 3 different times with 3 different shots and 3 different results. So it just goes to show you what someone's wanting to hear about, how you attract them, the keywords that are really relevant to them can be different for everybody. There was no harm in taking the budget, splitting it 3 ways and having 3 different slides and getting 3 very different kind of click-throughs. And I think the last slide.
I was just going to say, just on that, I think snackable content is a big thing nowadays. Like, small little snack. So it was a long video. You can see the long video, can't you? But obviously breaking that down into short, sharp bits of snackable content, as we like to call it.
Great point. We operate on the mentality of having like snacks, bites, or bite snacks and long form content, which is exactly what we did to make sure the client had more bang for their buck and also more reach. We took the same content, we shot it in 4K, so there was no reason we couldn't take the stills, stick it on mines everywhere. They didn't have the budget to go everywhere. So it's about thinking about where their audience is, who's the most at risk. As their competitors knocking on their biggest clients' doors, we just put a billboard out the front of their client. So, when their competitor rocks up, guess what? GMA's out the front. But just an example of how attraction marketing doesn't necessarily have to tell you anything about buy me, this is what I'm great for. The whole campaign was literally about get to know us. We're Australian, we've been here for 40 years, here's what we're about. And notice we didn't actually have a URL on anything. Changing mentality, when you're driving along a highway, you're not going to remember a URL. They've got quite a convoluted URL being in mining. So we had a little search icon, because what's everyone going to do? Jump onto Google, search GMA Garnet. So that was a little bit about a attraction marketing campaign we did here.
Awesome. And how many people put these long phone numbers, mobile numbers and stuff on signage, and you're just not going to get it?
Took everything off.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
Even a QR code, you shouldn't be looking at that while you're driving.
That's true.
Cool. Well, that's GMA. Some results there. That was just video retention. Yep. Cool. Yeah. All right. So Gabe is going to take us through another client with a fun name called Play Innovation.
Yeah, a really playful name. So these guys, probably the other end of the spectrum of GMA, they are a very small little business, but they've been running for quite some time. And I think a lot of the points in this will resonate with you. I might as well just take that because I'll come through with it. So Play Innovation, a small business with big aspirations, right? They work in the FMCG, the fast-moving consumer goods industry in Australia. They work with a lot of big clients on a project-by-project basis, usually. So like Woolworths, Aldi, KFC, those kinds of fast-moving consumer good clients to try and innovate their products. And they want to be, and one of their biggest visions is they want to be top of mind for like FMCG innovators in Australia. They want to change the way you think about the packaging on shelves and the way you perceive food and all of that kind of stuff. And they work a lot with innovation managers and insights managers and such. So the challenge was attracting new leads that are actual long-term value. So they get pigeonholed to a lot of one-off services here and there. They'll have they have a big facility, and they'll say like, we want to test out this new chips packets from Shapes, and Shapes will just use their facility once, and it's like 10 grand once off, and then they might not ever hear from them again, right? So they want to, as Tony was alluding to, later when they get those customers, have them continually coming back and back and back again and again, and not just pigeonholing them to just one service. The other key challenge in there was to be a go-to source of FMC education in Australia. Now that's a big one when we talk about attraction marketing, which essentially is inbound marketing, right? So essentially they want to be able to educate the market continuously with free, high quality, interesting content consistently. And we did that for a very long time for them and still doing it. And the final challenge in there, accurately nurture contacts pre and post conversion. Really important there. Like, as I said, to those 2 points there, I mean, they kind of fall in line with that. The nurturing, in a sense, like have it all automated, have the whole process work for them, because they're a small business, right? They've only got like, I don't know, 8 people full-time and a few other contractors and here and there. But essentially, it's just a core group of about 8 people. And essentially, they want to have these nurtures in their platform, HubSpot, to just automate all their marketing for them. And that's what we set to do. And also post the purchase, so once they've had the conversation, they've delivered on the project, etc., then the automation to pick up again and just delight the customers ongoing. So how did we start that? Well, we started with the foundations, right? And I think this is key to everyone. Who here has heard of a buyer journey? Who here knows their buyer journey in and out and every single touch point? Yeah.
There's a hesitation there.
The clients that have been in business for a long time and come and go, no, we don't need to do buyer journey work. We know who they are. And you start digging, and a lot of people don't know what makes things tick, or just having a map. Resources are not infinite in business. You need to work out where's going to make the best impact for you, and having a mapped out buyer journey just has a great source of truth for you to continually come back to.
So true, so true. And you can kind of refer back to it in a lot of times when you're planning out your marketing or sales efforts, and kind of go like, all right, is that actually in line with what we planned before? No, okay, let's not do that. Let's do what we planned to do, right? So it's a good source of truth, as Mel was saying. And I totally agree. Like, what we do with a lot of our clients is we plan out these buyer journeys from scratch. We literally get up on the wall and put the sticky notes and stuff, or during COVID times we use Mural or, you know, something similar like Lucid Chart, you know what I mean? And just plan it up on the digital wall. And we basically go from start to finish, from the moment they're a stranger, for the moment they convert, to the moment that you're trying to delight them as a customer. What are you doing? And usually the map looks very bare. It's like barely anything on there. But it's only because, you know, they only really understand like, oh, I do ads, and then they become a customer, and then I sell them, and then I go do more ads, and then I get the more customers. You know, I don't know why he's Russian, but essentially that's what the buyer journeys from, you know, most customers that we deal with, they start off with. And then later on we sort of go, oh, well, you know, you can do this at the middle, the bottom, you know, all the different stages of the inbound journey.
Can I just say as well, one of the big things to take away from this, and I see so many businesses missing it, is to move people down the buyer journey, use a thing called a CTA, a call to action, right? And there's so many times you read a blog post and you think, this is a great blog post, but there's no CTA at the end, there's no call to action. What do you want me to do once I've read that blog post? So CTAs that happen along the buyer journey will naturally take people on their journey as they go down.
100%, yeah. Thanks, Tony. That's so true. And a part of that CTA is knowing exactly what language to use, and knowing what language, what messaging to use, you really need to understand. Another part of your foundations, your personas. Like, a lot of the time we speak to like new customers that come and talk to us, and we go, so do you know your personas? And they go, oh, yeah.
Bob, he's 31.
Yeah, he's Bob, 31, owns a truck. All right, cool, yeah. So
How do they want to relate to your business?
Exactly. And what are their pain points? What are their goals? What are their aspirations? Where do they sit? Do they usually use LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter? Do they watch videos? You know, do they have kids? Do they go out on weekends? You know, all these kinds of things. You know, it's interesting from an inbound perspective. When you develop out a persona, you're actually developing a real life person, right? Gone are the days of, like, you know, to Tony's point, of the old funnel where you just thought, this is my customer, is like a 34-year-old man who lives in Balgala. Like, you know, that's, you know, so broad these days, it could be anybody, because we're such a diverse group of lovely people, aren't we? So, you know, what you have to do is really drill down into who your buyer personas are. Talk to every member of your team, talk to your sales team, talk to your marketing team, talk to your other customers, talk to the customers they deal with, understand exactly who your buyer personas are.
And you know what's surprising, just very quickly, I mentioned ResMed earlier on. We did that same kind of strategy workshop with ResMed. They ended up with 13 buyer personas. They thought they only had 3 or 4, but we ended up with 13. And you give them names as well, like everything we had from, excuse the language, buggered Brenda, who just can't get up on a Monday morning, through to insomnia Ian. And we understood all of those buyer personas and what content was relevant.
Yep, exactly. And so then the content that matters is what comes next, right? And not necessarily just putting all your efforts into writing a blog or writing social just willy-nilly now that you know your personas. We actually went through, and as play as an example, and mapped out for the next 12 months exactly what content we're going to do and how it applies to every single, bless you, to every single buyer persona, right? I can multitask. So your buyer personas here are all mapped out to educate them, right? Then you should note that like this content mapping that we did for the next 12 months doesn't have like any offers. It's not like buy now and get 20% off. Literally none of that existed, right? It was all conversational, exactly, Mel. Yeah, it's all conversational, all to attract and educate people, which was one of their vision points of being the top go-to FMC innovators in Australia, right? And then proof in your reporting is another key thing, right? So this is again back to that content mapping, but what we got here is a campaign, the HubSpot campaign that basically fits in with every bit of content. So every video, every blog, every social post that we did, we tagged it to specific campaigns so that at the end of the day, we're able to then measure exactly how many touch points there were, you know, who came and visited, you know, who like went from one thing to the next. And because it's all built off HubSpot as well, these guys basically had every touch point for every campaign built in HubSpot. The moment they had a customer, they could go back retrospectively and go, all right, we landed this customer, but how many touch points did they do at that point? And they determined like, oh, 20 here, 2 here, whatever. So they could actually map out the whole thing. And another key important thing here, and that's an actual screenshot from our goal setting workshop.
As you can see, his writing's not that great.
Yeah, that's Tony's writing. No, it's probably actually mine. No, what we did was we set goals. And who's heard of SMART goals before? Yeah, cool, awesome. So SMART being specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound or timely, right? So it's really important to set these. And a lot of people, they have big vision goals is like, you know, oh, we want to get 20 more leads by the end of January. And it's like, well, okay, well then how are you going to do that? How are you going to measure it? Is it attainable? Is the way you're doing it really relevant to your business? Is it, you know, realistic? You know, all those key questions you should be really hard asking yourself. And the results. So this is what we're all here to see. Wow, okay. So the 12-month metrics, what we ascertained to do was achieve in 12 months 252 MQLs, which is marketing qualified leads. If you want to know more about what all these terms mean, come talk to me afterwards. It's all about inbound marketing. SQLs being sales qualified leads, opportunities, and customers, right? And then what we built out in HubSpot was actual reports that shows the amount per month of leads that went to then MQLs, that went to SQLs, that went to, so it's complete visibility, and you can see like how they're hopping, you know, through that flywheel, right? You can actually physically see it. And in HubSpot, if you actually clicked on those yellow or orange bars, I guess they're orange, you click on them, because it's in your HubSpot CRM, it opens up and you can literally see your whole list of those like 6 in August contacts that became opportunities. So you can physically see in that evidence there. And that's really important too when stakeholders are reviewing that, right, Tony?
Just a question I was going to ask just for the folks, how you came up with those metrics. Like you haven't just randomly thrown darts at a dartboard and come up with those things?
Yeah, of course
well,
I
Mel
did.
does, but,
but
think about it a bit more.
So Play and I got drunk and we just went, that's 252. No, it was it was based upon like the value our customers brought to their business. This is for new customers, not returning business, right? We did a whole separate one for returning business. But for net new customers, they needed to achieve a certain amount. I think it was 850,000 within 12 months of revenue, right? And that's, they broke down, would equal to 14 customers if they achieved X amount per month, etc. on their average. So there was a lot of working out of these actual specific metrics that we broke down bit by bit and came to this realization.
And just to jump in there, so looking at the goals and how much you need to bring into your business, that's really important because the top number can be quite big. Gabe starts at MQLs, but before that we've got leads and subscribers and all the rest of it. That's really going to influence your attraction marketing and your strategy and where you need to be. coming back to your personas, you can't be everywhere. So if you need to get this number of people, what channels are they in? Are they in Google? Like, is your profile absolutely where they want to be? Are you more of a B2B client and you need to be focusing your efforts on LinkedIn? Like I keep referencing that time, energy, money is never infinite in a business. Having goals and having key personas just mean that you can segment how and where you put your energy and the types of resources you also put in for your attraction marketing.
Yeah, that's so true. Thanks for adding that, Mel. That's so true, because then if you see at the end of the day, you've got the actual results there, and this is all pulled from HubSpot, isn't this is basically their sessions that we aim towards. So the number below is what we aim to achieve, 1,000 sessions, and we got 1,500 sessions, new contacts, which was 91 out of 50. And you can actually click on it. Any that's blue in HubSpot, you can click on it and actually see who those actual contacts were in your CRM. The influence contacts, the actual closed deals, which they smashed, which is awesome, and then their influence revenue. And obviously we got quite above that, which is awesome. So that's basically what these guys did. We planned from the very beginning, like the very bare basics, the foundations, worked out exactly like how many things they need to achieve, MQLs, how much content they needed to do, tied it all back to HubSpot, and then we measured it throughout the whole journey. And then by the end, because they also use their sales hub as well to basically put in deals and close them off as marked won or lost, we're able to determine what the influence revenue was at the end of the day.
Cool. Well, thanks for that. That's a lot of people say that 50% of your marketing works and 50% doesn't. That's the 50% that does. All right. Well, in that example. So we've got a few minutes left. I think, where's the 5 minutes? Yeah, questions from anybody. And as a little incentive, we brought with us a sorted stone cap for 3 of the best questions tonight. So please, any questions quality for any of the team? Obviously, they don't want the cap.
Nobody wants a cap, so they're not going to answer questions.
So just, so one thing that I took out of there, Mel, what you said around get to know us, I think that's a fantastic phrase for any small business owner that's here, because the reason why I put attraction marketing together is because the understanding, demonstration, and actually showcasing your work so that you can sell your business is a much more sustainable way to generate sales for your business. So in saying that, so getting to know your market, dissecting where to market your business, where do you start with that for small business owners?
That is a fabulous question. Honestly, it comes down to doing your homework, doing the groundwork. Start with the buyer journey. You might already identify that you know what converts people, and you've got pieces of content or pieces of marketing collateral that kind of happen in the piece. Start with your personas. Like, go back and realistically look at your customer journey. We had a frozen dough business. We still do. One of our clients. They were heavily chasing supermarkets. Supermarkets is where they wanted to be at, and they put all their time. When we actually stopped, took a step back, looked at their customers, who was buying from them, who was actually interacting with the marketing, who was requesting brochures, it was like jails and catering businesses and people like Subway. It was such an unexpected marketing component that really made up a lot of their business. They just didn't understand who their personas were. We did the work with them. They weren't kind of looking back at who their customers were. They were wanting to be very aspirational, and that's a very easy rabbit hole for people to fall into. We always want the customer that's shiny, that's cashed up, that's ready to buy now, but that might not be a realistic sort of goal. Also understanding your state of play in business and how long it takes to really run a deal will also really impact how much effort you put in where. So if you've got a really long buyer journey and a really long position to close, you might need to put some more effort around that MQL, SQL stage, because it's such a long kind of map. It's different for every business, but and it's also important to know we don't necessarily get it right the first time. Like, it's okay to evolve business plans and buyer journeys.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I was going to say that we don't do our research enough for marketing before we start as small business owners, for sure. that is, yeah, I think.
I think one of the things as well is it's the research part, Eob, but it's also the data, right? Like everything you've seen here is trackable. So you can see where people are across the buyer journey, what is the content they're looking at and what isn't the content they're looking at, and stop feeding them with stuff they don't want. So when you see that the open rates are down or whatever, then try something else, because if you're constantly measuring and changing, you're eventually going to hit the gold with the right interaction.
Yeah,
Oh, look, the questions are coming on.
So you go.
What is the frequency you recommend looking at that data, just so you don't get completely preoccupied and you keep changing it the whole time?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Yes,
really
you get
good
a hat,
question.
and you get
Absolutely.
a hat. Yeah.
I would say quarterly is good. 3 months at a time. You've got to account for cyclical behaviour.
I agree.
It's always good to look at short term, long term, and life of the business really, and see how things have changed. A big something to keep in consideration is COVID. So pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID, we really don't have enough data post-COVID to necessarily understand that everything has 100% changed in stone. Like the world's opening up, events are changing.
Love it.
People's behaviours, are slipping back to what they used to be. So.
Comparative data is a really good point, because to that point, like you might not have enough sort of evidence from a previous event you ran because you couldn't run one, and so you have to kind of go with the flow. But to Mel's point, quarterly is really good. Depends on your role though. If you want to bring in stakeholders and other people to review together and realign, it might be more like a necessity to do that on a quarterly, but if it's more you're a marketer and you're solely looking at it day to day, then you probably look at it, weekly, if not daily,
If you're in sales, it's every hour. You're refreshing every time.
Just a question on content creation. Content creation is incredibly resource and time heavy for any business.
Yes.
Is there a sort of inflection point where you would say businesses need to be a certain scale before they really go down?
No.
From a resource point of view, though, you've got a 2 or 3 person operation who are doing, got all the plates in there, they're doing everything. Content creation is a beast.
And it's expensive.
And it's expensive. Yeah.
Mm.
Sure. Well,
but
I got ChatGPT to ask that question. Actually, I asked what that.
I mean, to Mel's earlier example of the GMA video, that video was repurposed several times, many times. 27 times, wow. So, I mean, that whole repurposing aspect is something I think people need to adopt more, but also old, like, social posts you might have done previously that share, certain things regularly, repurpose. But to that point, content creation and whatnot, I think you should focus in on that for specialized campaigns a lot more, in a more effort to, get a certain message across versus your general educational material, which can be repurposed. So there's 2 different lanes there. There's things you're promoting more in like a more immediate sense around campaigns, new promotion, an event coming up, versus then something that might be more regular.
Potentially, I'd also say look at your buyer journey and look at your personas. I know I keep saying the same thing, but your personas might only be interested in LinkedIn. It's way quicker to pump out 10 LinkedIn posts for the month than it is for a blog. Absolutely, and look at how you can
Just one quick tip. I did this a little while ago. I haven't done it for a while, but a lot of people write blog posts because it's pretty easy to write like a 300, 400, 500 word blog post, and they keep the sun off your head when you go out there. But what I did once is I just grabbed a whole bunch of blog posts which are similar, put them all together, and made an ebook. So again, going back to the repurposing of the content is making an ebook, and then that become an offer at a certain point of the buyer journey. People downloaded it, got leads off the back of that.
With Play is actually a really good example to that. One of their highest performing downloads was a white paper they did where they interviewed 50 other companies that work in FMCG, like Woolworths and all those big names, and they created this ebook that was gated one, so it was at the sort of middle of funnel level, but then they took the content from that, repurposed it as blogs, as social posts, and promoted it, and it's one of their highest performing lead generators. So
What's your thoughts on the move from, I'm seeing a move from more gated content to more ungated content and getting more stuff away?
Yeah.
It's positioned as a funnel. So really, attraction marketing, are you wanting to get that person's details and convert them straight away? Are they as the content you're putting out there converting content? Like, are they ready to buy? Do they have a problem? Are you going to solve that problem? Or are you really just wanting them to get to know who you are, your business, your solutions? Once again, that's why we say the funnel's dead, because the funnel really heavily relies on somebody coming in, receiving a piece of content at that particular time and only viewing them at that particular time, as opposed to the flywheel with ungating content, or gated content at least minimally, like capturing their email, just being able to then feed them that content through.
I think you should definitely lead, right? Give away the free content at the top with the idea that there's a CTA to take you to something, because the worst thing is you could have the best performing piece of content out there and you've got no idea who's looking at it, or you can't follow up. But if that is a lead gen to drive traffic, again, attraction marketing, drive them into a piece that they will download, you've already built that trust with the first piece of content.
I see a lot of people in the marketing area at the moment, that marketing space, saying the move is towards gating less content and giving more away for free.
Yeah. At some point, I think you have to track it, though.
I think the gated content has to speak value. So it really has to give you something. Like if you read a blog post and it tells you something about, something in the area of your interest, and they found out some way, of achieving something within that blog post. The downloadable asset that's attributed to that might be in a banner saying, hey, you want to figure out how we got here? Here's the guide that gets you there, or here's the checklist you need to tick off. One of our clients does ISO accreditations, and they write tons of blogs that says why you should be ISO accredited, and they do it for every industry. And one of the most common CTAs is just like, is this relevant to your industry? Find out, download the checklist, the boxes you need to tick to make sure you fall in line with this. And and all they need to do is like an email and first name. But
one thing is video. Like, don't get video. Like, people won't put in their details. Yeah. So video is such a big communication tool. So I mean, if you use video as that attraction piece to then drive them into, as Gabe was saying, want to see how we did it, download. So I think nowadays you're right. Like, a lot of people now aren't gating stuff because it's not good enough to gate. If you've got a good piece of content, a good white paper, or something that's valuable, but don't just we've gone past the 10 things you need to know about whatever, or the 15 things you need to know.
Yeah. The first piece of gating anything you give is the first time they've trusted you with data.
Yes.
So you better give them something.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. And value the fact that they've done that, and follow them up and give them more of what they want.
Yeah. I've got
run out of hats.
I've got one last question. So, obviously, ChatGPT is the thing at the moment, so let's bring that up. How long is really content going to last after this? I mean, you just, because I got to find out about it.
It's an interesting thing, and the lady was right here. The ChatGPT is still very general if you put stuff in there. But I find that there's another one called Jasper.ai, which is more about writing blog posts, for doing AI. But I use Jasper AI to get some ideas, because there's nothing worse than starting with a blank. We're talking before about content. You're sitting there with a blank page thinking, what am I going to write about? So use this tool to actually start your writing, but then add your personalization to it and your own kind of hand to it. You have, it's a very, very clever thing.
I think that's a good point, Tony. All these AI tools and stuff, I think they're more to spark creativity and give you more inspiration than actual do the work for you and give you actual specific, because at the end of the day your educational content specific to you and your experiences, and you're not going to promote something or talk to something that you don't know or don't do, so I think it's still, there's going to be that obvious inclination when you read it, like that it actually speaks to you rather than it sounds like it came from an AI.
Well, it's the accessibility part that makes it, very attractive, obviously.
There's another one like Jasper. It's actually really cool. I discovered the other day where you can put in if you're starting a business or want to revamp the brand of your business, you can put in key terms and kind of what you do and whatnot, and it generates possible names and stuff for your business and logo suggestions as well. It's it's hectic, and you can choose does it sound simple, is it an actual real word, or can it be a fake word or a made up word? I'll have to look it up. Sorry, I talked about it the other day. Follow me on LinkedIn. It's one of my recent videos. And hey, CTA. No, it's free content. It's not gated. Just follow me on LinkedIn, and then you'll see it. It's
I was just going to say just one thing around the AI stuff.
Yeah.
If you make it super easy for people to use AI and to end up doing their own blog posts, the whole bar comes down, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So then
That's what
you're
I
not
mean.
going to stand out in the crowd.
Yeah.
You're just going to be the same as anybody. So I think you've got to keep pushing the bar, adding your own value, adding your own content on top of using AI to help.
Personality and
It's exactly what you said about the 10 things you need to know about the
Yeah.
weather. Right? Because ChatGPT can, or Jarvis,
Absolutely,
or Jasper,
Google.
whatever it's called these days, can go out and research and rehash the top 10 articles on Google,
That's exactly
but
so
it can't
it's
come
the
up with your case study. It's not going to do a case study here because
Yeah, kind of how we avoid a different
but
thing.
it's still not going to do it because it won't do anyway.
Fantastic. What a great panel. Thank you so much for joining
Pleasure.
us.
Thanks,
Salted
everyone.
Stone. That's great. Awesome. Well, fantastic. We've got one more amazing speakers. What a such great content so far. So I hope you all have been taking down the notes and doing that. So I guess one thing I'll say that, you know, two of our members actually, Nathan and Leanne, are amazing when it comes to content, you know, and just posting up amazing, well, getting to know us via understanding our business as well, what we deliver. I mean, Nathan, it has to be natural for you, I have to say, as an MC. That is the role that you play, but we definitely want to see more. For Nathan's content is amazing. But, Leanne shows us everything from decluttering all the way up to, I love it, I do. I actually follow your content so well. So when you talk about getting to know us, this is also a big part of it, so which is fantastic. Let me introduce our next speaker. So Mel, do you want to come up here? Excellent. I'm not going to do an introduction, but I wanted you to introduce yourself. But a good surprise, but I just wanted to quickly ask you a couple of questions. How's that sound? So that would make it easy. Yeah, fantastic. So Mel, tell us a little bit about your background first off.
Oh my God. Hey everybody, how you going? My name is Melissa J. Scott. I've been running my own creative agency for the past 25 years. And it started as most people in small business started. I had children and I didn't want to work for somebody else, so I started my own business. And 25 years later, here I am. I was a graphic designer and have morphed into so many different things in that space. You know, learnt how to use computers because that was only coming in at that time. There was no email back then. We used to do cold calling. If you had a Yellow Pages ad, you were schmick, you know, facsimile, you know, sending out direct mail pieces via the fax. It's a completely different way of doing things now. And I think my superpower probably has been in morphing and moving with it or just slightly ahead of it and then converting that in layman's terms to people.
The reason why I'm asking you these questions is because these are the same questions that we ask people at the GG boards. And they're incredible, simple questions, but they always get to the root of things. So what are you doing in your business right now to improve it? So it was something, just give us one small thing that you're doing.
I work with clients that can afford good marketing strategies. There's plenty of business owners out there that can't afford to work one-to-one with people that can give them a great strategy. As sexy as it is, as good for your business it is, they can't afford it. So I've put together an online course and I have a content creation, content creator club as well, which I'm just launching. Beautiful segue, thank you very much. Yeah, so, and it's priced appropriately. Yeah, I'll pitch it at the end. It's my CTA. And and it's for everybody. I feel really morally and ethically like, you know, everyone deserves this information. And that's how I've sort of future see myself as being able to, you know, have different multiple streams of income. And I think COVID taught us that. So that's what I'm doing that's different in my business.
Fantastic. And one more question. So what are you doing, have you done in the past month for yourself?
I'm only laughing because I'm so personal and that's what we're going to be talking about. So I was having a giggle when you guys presented. I had a bit of imposter syndrome, I have to say. Like, I'm going, far out, these guys, it's all good stats, agency, but like I'm all about personal branding and sharing your personal story. So in the past month, what have I done for myself? it's what I do all the time. I sing in a band, and so I've been gigging, I work out at the gym all the time, walk my dog, like I never ever miss that. And I talk about it online all the time. And I'll be sharing about that in my presentation.
Well, thank you so much, and that's your introduction. And let me see you on.
Thank you. I've just got my phone up. Oh, yeah. Clap. Thank you. I've just got my phone up here so I can just check the time because I'm a notorious go over time person. So anyway, I just want to get a gauge on everyone that's here. Everyone's a small business owner. Like, is there anybody that's not a small business owner? Is there any like? Yeah. So you got Okay. What's? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got it. So I just want to make sure I give you the kind of the content, because I can like. Oh, is there a clicker? This it? Beautiful. Okay. So it's always hard speaking at the end, isn't it? So are you guys ready to stop being the best kept secret in your industry? Does anybody here sort of feel like they're doing a really hot job already with their personal branding and that they're standing out amongst their competitors? Is anybody sort of thinking they're nailing their personal branding? It's good. No, it's cool. There's no shame in that. Because what I want to get across is that I don't want people to be self-conscious about this sort of stuff, because this is the big way. This is about the only advantage we've got in small business. And I learnt this back in the early days when I was talking about, 25 years ago, when all we had back then when we were a small business, we couldn't really compete with the big guys. But now we can in small business because we have the internet, we have social media, we have so many facilities that we can play with the big guys now, and we actually have an advantage over them because we can actually market around who we are, and people can know, like, and trust us and develop a relationship with us. So that's the tone of where I'm going to go with my presentation today. So that's what I always ask people to. Are you ready to become the leader that you truly are and earn the income that you truly deserve? Because people get a bit bashful about that, when we talk about it, and they're a bit modest. And I deal with a lot of service-based businesses. There might be lawyers, they might be accountants, and they're very modest about it, and they get very uncomfortable about thinking about being a leader in their industry until we sort of go through the process of what I'll sort of show you guys tonight. So we're talking about attraction marketing, which I really love because I'm quite woo-woo, I'm quite spiritual and out there. So as soon as Eades said we're doing attraction marketing, I was like, you beauty. Because I'm all about attraction and the law of attraction. And so I heard this, funnily enough, at the gym while I was working out this week. We do not attract or manifest what we want. If it was that easy, of course, everyone would be doing it. But we attract what we are. So this is in relation to our personal branding and about stepping into the shoes of who we are and unashamedly and unapologetically just letting people know who we are and then letting them be either attracted or repelled to us. And it's quite okay, because if you're going to be following the law of attraction, we should also be following the law of abundance, and that there are plenty of people out there for us, and we might as well attract the clients who are suited to us rather than try and snare the clients that aren't attracted to us, because I've been doing this for 25 years and I like working with clients that I get on with and who like me and actually understand who I am well before they come through the doors and actually become a client. Even you guys, you run a big agency, you still want to work with people that you're aligned with. And there's plenty of people out there that we're not aligned with, and there's so much opportunity out there that they can go to other people that they're better aligned to. Oh, am I doing something wrong? Oh, okay. So I call myself a connection and confidence coach because I tried to differentiate myself from all of the 2 million marketing people out there. And when it really boiled down to what I do is I teach people all about connection marketing, which is aligned with the attraction marketing. But there's a missing component that I found with a lot of my clients, that when we do work together, they would leave and they'd have the sexiest marketing strategy and a great action plan. You guys probably see this all the time too. And then they just put it in the drawer and then they don't do anything. And it's not because it's not good, it is good, but there's something missing, and it's the confidence to be able to implement it. So I realise that's what I also bring to the piece with them. So I actually boldly go out there, and I can guarantee you I haven't come across anybody else that calls themselves a connection and confidence coach. And I think for you guys as small business owners, I'd really love for you to think about what it is that you do that's different to everybody else. I have an accountant client and he calls himself the profit generator. unashamedly, unapologetically. And with the marketing piece that we put together for him, we were doing his marketing strategy one day, and I said to him, what makes you different about everybody else, all the other accountants that's in your local area that you compete against? And he's running through all of these, perfectly politically correct things. And I said, no, seriously, what is it makes you different? And he said, well, I actually give a shit about my clients. I said, and there it is. There's your tagline. Are you comfortable with that? And he said, yes, I am. And I said, do you think your target, we went through the target audience, the personas that you guys talked about, their pain points. Are they comfortable hearing you, say that as a tagline? We actually give a shit, but S, exclamation mark, whatever. And he said, yeah. And so he runs with that now, and it's been highly effective for him. He's totally differentiating himself. One of his target audiences that he was going after are entrepreneurs, and they kind of talk in that language too, and they kind of related, and they got the joke, and they were like right into it. So, and that was their pain point too, was that they actually were going to big city accounting firms and not being the top dog there, but they could come to a suburban accounting firm like his and feel very important. So it cut through in one tagline. So I would encourage you guys to think about what is it that makes you different from what everyone else is doing. We could all be in the same industry, but I'm sure there's something that makes you unique. And I like to share with people, because this is all about personal branding. This is my old why. These are my sons. And as you can see, they're men now. So for 20 odd years, that was very important to me. Working was all about them. They were my core reason for living. Now they're not so much, because they're men and they're growing up and they don't need me so much. And it made me think, and I do this exercise with clients too, well, what's my new why? Because we should always be communicating to our audience what our why is. The old Simon Sinek thing is people will relate to you and understand you and get to know you and like you and trust you in all the marketing pieces that you put together if they actually know why the hell you're doing what you do. So for me, I went on this deep dive and I figured out, well, actually I like doing things with clients that changes their lives. It's actually life-changing to them. And I want to inspire people and connect with people and actually get them to live their life full out too. And I had a very significant birthday a couple of years ago. I turned 50, and a lot of people go through a bit of a crisis. I went through a bloody big crisis turning 50, let me tell you. And I shared it. And it was so incredibly amazing how so many other business people in my network and that are in my kind of funnel that are either people that refer me on or I do work for, totally related, totally got it, and we totally shared stories, and it felt very human. And this is the whole thing about coming back to the attraction, is about just humanising our content and humanising ourselves. We can still be very serious business owners and very successful, but just show who you are and have the confidence to stand out. And these are, I'm going to move forward. I talk too much. I've got so much to show you guys today. These are my values. I suggest you have them on your website, and then you share with people what it is that you do so people can relate to you. You'll be really getting this is the very big theme of what I'm talking about. And this is how you attract people. So if you read that and you see, life-changing, okay, authentic, freedom, abundance, love, energy. Now, if any of that just feels really icky to you and you just think, this girl is too spiritual for me, I'm probably not your cup of tea. And that's cool. You'll go on to somebody else that's a completely different kind of marketing person. But if that, and I have to say to you, I attract mainly male clients too, because they actually want this deeper kind of connection and they're really happy to have these deeper conversations. And I have a lot of male clients that really open up and really express themselves. So don't think that this is only kind of pigeonholing me perhaps to only getting female clients, because most of my clients are male and they actually really enjoy these conversations. And I wanted to share this quote with you. We are the CEOs of our own companies, Me Inc. To be in business today, our most important job is to be the head marketer for the brand called you. And I think we have to embrace it. The days of hiding behind your company logo and just putting out company material and the company line and not putting the people who are customer facing in front of your audience is a missed opportunity. You can choose to do that if you like, that can be your brand, but I think it's a missed opportunity. I'm very much around marketing around the people in your industry, in your business, and becoming the rock star of your industry, whatever that means to you. Which leads into traditional marketing is telling the world you're a rock star, but content marketing is showing them that you are one. And it's really just however you wish to do that. It is sharing your successes, sharing the highs, sharing some of the lows too, sharing some of the frustrations. Just sharing and relating to people is really how you're going to stand out these days, and just get to see, let people see then if they want to come and be a client of yours or not, which comes back to the attraction. You know, let them, don't hide, I think is what I'm trying to say. Really let them see exactly what they're going to get when they come to work with you, because the idea of having clients is to keep them. And if they know, like and trust you and really like you and really resonate with you, you've got them for life. Like I've got clients I've had for 20 years. You know, it just, there's a reason for that. It's not because, you know, it's priced that way. It's because they relate to you and they connect with you, and they made a decision. And now, because we have so much online, they make a decision about that they actually like you before they even meet you, which really makes the first sales meeting so comfortable when somebody feels that they know you. And so why I say that you should be a rock star of your industry is because rock stars, as we know, are the masters of connection. They evoke real emotions. They take audiences on a journey. And we can do all this in our marketing. There's nothing stopping us from creating the kind of content, because it's real, that's actually going to create these feelings within people about how they feel about you. If you're actually taking a stance in your industry and speaking up in your industry and actually having an opinion, they inspire, they get the audiences to feel, they're exciting and engaging. Their fans are definitely loyal, and there's nothing like having loyal clients that actually refer you on, and defend them to the hilt. We were talking about reviews before, about when people get negative reviews. One of the most beautiful things I see with, I had a camper trailer company that whenever they would get a negative review or something, they were a massive company and somebody would post negatively about them, the people that came in and supported them were the community of other owners. The sales team and the business owner, they just sat back and just watched all the loyal community that they had created come and defend them. And that is a beautiful thing. And that was because they did a lot of this stuff. They turned a lot of their head salespeople into rock stars of their industry by putting them in all of their promotions. We used to film a lot of their camping trips and then talk about that in the marketing. It was they did it in a really professional way, but they also did it just like with an iPhone. You know, it can be, I think the acceptance levels of people of just having like rougher kind of put together material is just as, it's actually more truthful than something that's really polished and schmick. So don't ever feel intimidated that you don't have the budget, because if you've got an iPhone, you now have the budget. Rock stars also bring out raw passion in their audience because they connect on such a personal level. And I think you're getting the vibe. That's what I'm talking about, and that's how we attract people, by being personal, just being ourselves. So what people miss in creating connection with their audience is that they go straight to the audience and try to create the connection. And what I try to teach with my clients is that we have to actually have some kind of connection with ourselves first, which is what you guys were talking about, which is really great. We have to understand ourselves, what makes us tick, our values, our why, but also, you know, then our inner circle, which is the people that we're trying to connect with, and what makes them tick and what keeps them awake at night. What are their pain points? We really need to do a lot of analysis. People are just super duper excited to get to the next part of the connection piece, which is like, just get your content out there to everybody and we'll just see how it goes. But if you do the first couple of steps, you'll have so much more success if you're going to create a video or you're going to put together a podcast, to really do the deep dive analysis into who your audience is and how you actually change their lives. And I'll give you a couple of examples shortly about that. I know when I speak a lot, people always, they come and they hope I'm going to give them a formula that's magical and going to work for you. But, you know, I'm kind of taking the piss a little bit with this. There is no magic formula, because everybody, and when I show you the next two case studies, like, there is a guide that you can follow when it comes to marketing, but honestly, if you do it enough, you'll actually find the pieces that work for you the best, that resonate with your audience, and it's all different. It's custom. There's no one fix thing that's going to work for everybody. It has to be customised. But what you do need to know is to know your audience intimately, know their pain, speak their language. Super important you don't speak in your own jargon. You must be relative to them. Speak the way that they speak. Know who you are and why choose you. It's so important that you know what makes you unique. So that's why, when I call myself the connection and confidence coach, it's really clear. People understand immediately what I'm on about, and if it doesn't resonate with them, they can move on. It's cool. I'm totally cool with that. Work on your self-belief like a rock star. This I'm going to become very apparent in the next couple of case studies. Create awesome content that is valuable, provides massive value and changes lives, and what I talked about before about actually having a strategy, not just going in and just hitting your marketing like a maniac. Really have this deep strategy in place before you do it. And honestly, it can just be on one A4 page. It doesn't have to be a report that you just kill yourself with over the next 6 months doing it, because that's just an avoidance strategy. And we want to get into it, but spend a few hours where you do a bit of a deep dive, and then let's just get to work. Your audience needs to believe that whatever you offer is possible for them. I think this is really, really important. This is so important with your marketing. If you can take them on a journey at this point where you know what their pain point is, and then you know kind of what their desired outcome is, and you're the middle bit with your content where you're actually giving them some actionable things that they can take away from your content, that they can do right now and get some small wins under their belt. And then you will create such a goodwill and such a relationship with them that they want to take the next step organically with you, because you've already proven yourself to them that you've helped them. I think we need to, with our content, we need to have a much bigger feeling around helping and serving rather than what am I going to get? What am I going to get out of this? It's how many people did I help today? And I think this is the whole attraction thing. It's going to be organic, and it will feel very aligned with you when you're actually doing this well. So I'll talk about some real case studies. So this is Maria. She's a girlfriend of mine as much as a business colleague. Has any of the ladies heard of Maria Nicola? Yeah. She's quite wide-reaching. She's been slogging away at this. She's an overnight sensation of 20 years. First 10 years, she had her own business with her husband. They had a jewellery store, so she learnt the tools of the trade with jewellery. The next 10 years, she developed her own necklace called the 10-way necklace, which you can see here, and it clips together. It's got 10 different variations. It's magnetic, and it's all beaded, and there's lots of different colours, and it's all very beautiful. And it sells, I think, like $99 or something. And for 10 years, she was schlepping this product all around the country, literally going to trade fairs, going to high teas, going to the Royal Easter Show, doing parties, women's parties, and she went on Shark Tank. She got picked up on Shark Tank. She did TV commercials. She tried everything. And she just worked at it, when other people would have, seriously, like she was making money, but she wasn't cutting it. And she was going for it. She was trying everything. She got picked on Shark Tank. She actually got picked up by one of the sharks. Didn't lead to anything, but she did. And that did wonders for her brand. If ever there was somebody working bloody hard on their brand and building their audience, it was Maria. She's doing an amazing job. And then she was always open. I think why I'm using this example, it's one of the best examples of attraction, because we always think of attraction as in, I just want to attract all the right clients. Well, one day she was at the Royal Easter Show. She's selling. She's a master. She's perfected this, how she demonstrates it. She's done it on TV, on Channel 10 for years. She's mastered it. She's good at it. She's ready to roll. And a guy came to her right on the very last day, in the last hour, and he had a conversation with her, and he said, his name's Liam. He said, "Hi, I'm Liam. I've seen you. I think you're amazing. I think I can help you." And they sat down over the next couple of days and had a really serious conversation. He's a Facebook advertising guy, just a guy. Like, he didn't come from a big agency or anything. And they had a very serious conversation, went down the path and the process, and then she let him. She gets approached all the time, but there was something about him that she trusted. Like, she really opened up and she trusted. And her business went ballistic. And it's not, I don't believe, and she doesn't believe it was just any old guy doing Facebook ads. He was very strategic. He finessed what she was doing already. She made a lot of homemade, he had a very strict thing with her. She had to make homemade videos, just exactly like how she was. She was always the face of the product, not to change a thing, but just the way he put it out there. Then COVID hit, they got really fine. They worked on the persona. She was going out to everybody. They worked really hard on the persona, and they figured out, actually, it's women over 50 who go on cruise ships. That was her specific persona. And then when she figured that out, everything went ballistic. Then COVID hit. She opened up a Facebook group to that target audience. And so she's got women from all around the world now who go cruising in that age group who love her product and buy 20 versions of it and bring in all their girlfriends. Her Facebook group, she goes live in there 3 times a week, and she just sells and sells and sells. She's now earning 7 figures easily every year, employs half of her family. She's Greek, so she's got all the family in there working with her now. And it's, like I said, a really great success story that took 20 years to get there. But I think why I share that story is it was attraction that got her there, her personality and her brand that got her there, because it wasn't just magic ads and just a product. It was very much based around herself, and she'd been finessing that art form for 10 years. So she's the overnight success. And this guy, how am I going for time here? 5 more minutes, okay. I'll finish on this story. This is a great story. This is Steve. He's my big success story. He has been on and off again client of mine for ages. He's in the hospitality industry. We connected again. This is worth actually telling you about the attraction thing, about how we attract people. I'm very open online in my marketing. So 5 years ago, nearly 6 years ago, I had a bit of a tragedy in my life. My husband died and he was a big man, so he died, massive heart attack. Steve saw the story. He wasn't a client of mine at the time. He saw it, connected to it. He was 40 kilos overweight. He really deeply resonated with that story. Went and over that year, lost 40 kilos. I didn't even know. And then we were at a networking event a year later. I saw him. I'm going, oh my God, Steve, amazing. And he said to me, I have to tell you, you inspired me, your husband's story. And I said, oh, amazing, wow, beautiful, thank you very much. And it just gets better and better and better. And then he said, look, I want to employ you. I want you to come in. I've got one restaurant in a club. We win awards, but we're the best kept secret in the industry. I keep getting passed up for tenders. I'm competing against the big guys. You know, I'm good. People know I'm good, but not enough people know I'm good. We worked on him, we did photos, website, rebranded. But what I worked on with him was his confidence at telling his story, and encouraged him greatly to start telling his story more online and social media. And this guy, honestly, creating his video when we went in there for the day, it was hell, trying to get him through the video, coaching him through. But we got there, and something just clicked in him when he saw the whole product back, and he looked at it and he's just gone, man, I'm a superstar. And something resonated in him, and then overnight, he was a maniac with an iPhone. He would go out to other restaurants or go to suppliers, and he just started doing Facebook Lives, and he just started communicating, letting people see who the hell he was. He started calling himself the hospitality entrepreneur. Here he is here. Everything about his whole persona changed. 3 months later, he's on holidays in Hawaii. He gets a phone call from a general manager of one of the major clubs. Actually, I'll tell you, it was Club Parramatta. And they have a whole suite of different clubs under their banner. He had missed out on the tender with them, but they had been seeing him so much online. They said, we made a massive mistake. You are the guy that we should have put in here, that we're not happy with the big company. You're amazing. Can you get back to Australia and get into this establishment and the other 4 clubs that we have all in the next month? Which, of course, he made happen. So in the past 3 years, his business has grown to 11 venues, so 11 clubs in Sydney and up on the Central Coast, 25 dining concepts, there's more than that, 30 event spaces, more than 300 staff. He has now got his own food company because he just realised he can just get it in wholesale, sell back to himself, and then sell out to all more restaurants. He's now got a logistics company, and he's also working with an existing hospitality app he bought into the business, and he's helping them refine it. So all of that over COVID, when his business was shut down for a year and a half, and he's still grown to that size. And what it is, that's why I'm saying to you, it's not a magic formula. He was the magic. It was him, his personal brand, him believing in himself and going out to the market and just speaking like a bloody rock star of his industry. Like, he's not cool. I hope he's not here, okay, so I can say that. Steve is, but he's unreal at what he does, and he's nice, and he's good, and he's actually a bit of a perfectionist. And all of that came across in his videos. He let his true self come across in his videos. He didn't, unashamedly and unapologetically. So this is your homework. Figure out what your values are. Figure out what you stand for. What are you really passionate about in your industry? What can you communicate back to your audience and talk about? What's your unique story? Because I bet you've got one. Figure out what you are. Are you inspiring? Are you entertaining? Are you funny? Are you serious? Are you analytical? Whatever it is you are, just be that. That's cool. And then write down, this is my favourite thing, list 30 of your personal interests, select 5 of what really drives you, and then inject them into your marketing. And what I mean by that is, this is my last year. I joined a band, I did a bodybuilding competition, and I went to the Monday Bash by myself, went camping, which is a big symbolic trip for me, and a lot of people understand why. And I share that with my community. So that's as much of my marketing as actually sharing what my clients do and giving good tips and tricks and all the things. But this is what makes me unique, and this is exactly what can make you guys unique too. You can share as much of it or as little of it as what you want, but for the last 2 examples that I just showed you, it works really well. And it's attraction marketing.
Awesome. Please contact Mel. Thank you so much, Mel. That was incredible. So I think the one thing that we can do is dig deep into who we are first. It's all what we talk about. Clarity. Get that clarity in first. Trust me, that's the first thing that I didn't know about myself. I thought I knew myself, but 4 years ago, rediscovered who I am, and I had to get some clarity. But sharing is still a challenge for me, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's one of the easiest thing to do. Sharing is a challenge, and I'm going to get to that breaking point, hopefully one day, and share more of my story. I don't know if you guys know, I'm from Ethiopia. People always don't think I look like an Ethiopian at all. I get that all the time. I'm baldy locks. So I can give you so many different things, different stories, but I haven't shared them yet. But I love that Mel is sharing all this, and I think one of the ways to attract people is definitely by being authentic, saying it how it is. You don't have to be cool. Sid is not cool. Yes, you do not have to be cool. You do not. You just share because it resonates with either 1 or 2 people, and that's more than enough to turn into a true connection. And then the second part is into business as well. So don't be afraid to do that. But to all my speakers, thank you so much for joining us today. And please, I'm not going to hold you anymore. Let's get up, have a drink, and some food. Thank you.